when I'm restless, put me under the nightlife stars and I will feel grounded. I know I'm just a girl, but can I change lives? If I am nothing, if I am trying, I think I can. I step on broken glass and dream of soft clouds. When feelings are heavy, they become all we are. And we become nighttime dreamers, the streetwalkers, the small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers. And we become nighttime dreamers, the streetwalkers, the small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers. And real life, the quiet lust belongs to all of us and drives us closer into the madness of the world of a girl. And it suits me just cause everyone lies and nobody lies and somebody dies. Right now I hear the quiet, sweet music but no one sings. And we become nighttime dreamers, the streetwalkers, the small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers. And we become nighttime dreamers, the streetwalkers, the small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers. And real life knows what I dream about when I'm sober. Never turn away from love before the love you have is over. All I ever know is what I dream about when I'm sober. Never turn away from love before the love you have is over. Nothing can die while we are here. 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 So we become nighttime dreamers, streetwalkers, small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream.
Welcome everyone to the Ignite Demo Day of 2021. This evening, our 13 teams will present what they've been working on during the last 10 weeks, and you'll be able to see the next generation of student entrepreneurs. My name is Oskar, and together with Ronnie, we'll be your host this evening. This year we had a fantastic way of combining last year's learnings, both from my side as one of the participants and from Ronnie's side as one of the organizers. This year has truly been a unique experience from our side as well, which we will carry with us in the next chapter of our entrepreneurial journey.
For many people, this year may be the first time they hear about the Ignite. What is the Ignite? It's a new accelerator program in Otaniemi. And what is the meaning of this new program? But let's fast forward this a little bit for last year's March. So the first lockdowns have just been enforced and nobody knew what the future would hold. Summer plans for many students suddenly changes. Summer jobs got cancelled, exchanges withdrawn, and many did not know what to do. And that was a moment when we started to think about how we in Aaltoes can help our peers through the summer. And of course, because we were in the entrepreneur society, we were thinking, what could be a better way to spend your summer on than employ yourself in your own venture? And that was the moment when the idea of the Ignite got started. And after 2 months, the first pilot version of the program was out there with the 16 teams with a passion for entrepreneurship and eager to learn how to become a founder. So during the 10 weeks last summer, the teams were able to learn the basic skills for a founder company, met a lot of new many people, and also saw the reality of being a founder. But we as organizers got first learnings as well. So what to do and what to don't do to be able to run a successful program.
Directly after last year's program ended, this year's accelerator started to take shape. We had seen what kind of structure is needed in a student accelerator program. We validated our structure with other accelerators across Europe, as well as with well-known entrepreneurs and investors in Finland. In 1 year, we have grown from a small pilot to a full-blown accelerator where it truly can help aspiring students create lasting impacts on society. With a growing interest among university students to solve big challenges, the number of applications this year grew by 40% to 114 teams. We had students applying from over 30 different schools, representing over 15 nationalities. In the end, we selected 14 teams to this year's batch, all coming in with their own problem that they wanted to solve. We're also really happy with how the startup scene has changed and the diversity among this year's batch, with students coming from 5 different schools, representing 10 nationalities. In the spring, we started to lock down all the workshop holders and mentors. It was truly a unique experience from our side to be able to talk with the most experienced people in Finland. During the summer, we organized over 40 workshops and talks held by experts in each area. The team were able to learn the most crucial skills that are needed when starting an early stage startup. We covered everything from how to build a successful team, to finding product market fit, to understanding how to get your product to customers. We also provided the teams with over 300 mentoring sessions. The mentors were there to offer advice in their particular expertise, as well as giving individual feedback to each team. Organizing these workshop and mentoring sessions would of course not have been possible without all the amazing people who volunteered to share their experience and expertise with the teams. Your help was very valuable for the teams to find the right path forward. We want to give all of you a huge round of applause for helping us out. We have come to realize that this program is not only about building lasting companies, but giving everyone the opportunity to see what is required to build a successful startup. Even if the teams decide to not carry on with the current companies, they'll be able to leverage the learnings that they got during the summer.
Every team came into the program with some kind of idea that you wanted to pursue on. And I have to say that it's been a total privilege for our side to be able to follow you and see how your ideas have been evolved during the summer. And even though this was not the easiest summer for us, and especially for you, due to the ever-changing situations, but there were still many happy moments among the program. So for example, the late barbecue evenings we had almost every week. You landed the first pilots in here. Got noticed by Finnish media, among the Alma Media, HBL and HS Visio. And also, let's not forget about our water bottle war in one hot summer day. Together with Oscar, we hope that you have had a memorable summer and learned a lot. And also met a lot of many people that you can carry with you for the rest of your journey. This program would not have been what it was without you. And I have to say that we couldn't be happier on your accomplishments. And now we are really eager to see your final presentation today. So let's give a huge round of applause for our teams for pushing through the summer with admirable passion.
We're now happy to welcome our first team to the stage. Our first team is Binky. Binky is measuring a food impact in a transparent way. So let's give a warm applause for Gail.
So, We all deserve to know the impact of our food, right? And if you're conscious, like me, you probably have come across those words, sustainability, or even the words green, clean, healthy. But really, who knows what it actually means? It's used as marketing buzzwords, more as an actual measurable thing. This all leads to mistrust. On the one hand, you got consumers, all of us, who are conscious and who want to make the good thing. And on the other hand, you've got businesses who are actually sustainable and go against the trend, but they don't know how to advertise themselves without being accused of greenwashing. So we noticed this at Binky. And of course, we want to bridge the gap and create a solution when both sides can connect. Now, we may not look like it, but we are actually a bunch of scientists with a lot of skills that don't overlap. But if there's one thing that we have in common, it's the fact that sustainability has been at the core of our focus ever since we started studying. Now, of course, one way to bridge the gap is to use numbers. We're scientists, we love numbers, but do you know what consumers do not love? Precisely that, numbers. So we thought that consumers don't need more numbers, they need insight. It's through insight that they get knowledge, and through knowledge, they get the power to make a positive change. We thought of a practical way to approach this. And the most practical way to approach this is to use a smartphone app. So this is it, the Binky app. Now, when it comes to sustainable food, there are really 4 things you should be looking for. It should be helpful, it should be local, it should be good for the planet, and it should be good for us. But who wants to research 3 hours before they eat their granola bar? Nobody. So we take the dirty work and we do it ourselves. We take the real raw data and we compile it into this very advanced scale that is accessible in one glimpse, as you can see here. But if our real purpose is to educate, we need to be conscious of the fact that we can't ditch out the numbers themselves. We can't ditch out all of them. So whether you're looking for a key metric, a couple of key metrics like the packaging material, the fertilizers that have been used, or a detailed breakdown of what's coming in your food, the environmental impact, or if you're looking for a detailed, thorough report, everything is accessible with the least amount of work. Okay, that's a good promise, but how does this translate into business? We want to spread across the whole supply chain. So we thought to go with first brands with online stores, indoor businesses like stores, restaurants, or producers and farmers. Now, for the 2 first ones, we thought that a commission model would be the most easy to do. And as you can see here, it can be done through discounts, affiliate links, or through special items that they can unlock on their phone and show to their professional. For the last one, it's a bit more tricky. We want to go with a subscription model, because that way we can not only provide them the analysis that we provide to the other ones, but also we can make sure to create the right marketing channels for them. We are convinced that not only would we be able to create some significant revenues, but that it's also a scalable model. And a part of that is that we want to cultivate customer loyalty by creating the opportunity of customers having a personalized profile so that they have even less work to do to find the right food. Okay, so where are we now? Well, through Ignite, we went through a lot of insight. We gathered insight on how to create a company and how to approach the question. Then we built our first platform that I've just presented to you, and that's where we are now, the demo day. Now moving forward, we want to create our own company, gather even more insight for the few candidates that are interested in becoming our pilot, apply for investment, and then create an MVP, launch in Helsinki, and hopefully grow to a larger scale within 1 to 3 years. So that's it for me. We are Camilla, Klein, that I invite to join me on the stage, Gail and Anish. Together, we are Binky, and feel free to connect with us.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the pitch. Maybe a few comments first. So in the beginning when you started, you could maybe spend a little less time on the problem itself, because I was really waiting to see the product. You know? What does it look like? What does it look like? Halfway through the pitch, luckily you showed it, so I have an idea what it does, but maybe spend a little bit less time on the problem. And so one question that I had in my mind was how do you get the app in front of consumers? Because you were explaining about the indoor stores and farmers, but how are you going to get that in front of the consumers?
Can I respond that? You can hear me? Yeah? Yeah. Well, our target group is people from 25 to 35 years old. So that people, it's normally in social media. So our idea is to have many people who is in their social media, like making marketing for us, like influencers or, well, all the marketing in social media, Instagram, Facebook. So that is the way that we will take the consumers.
Thank you for the good pitch. I like it because eating is one of the things that we humans typically do, all of us, every day. So the target market is really big. You talked about science, and you mentioned you're a group of scientists.
Yeah.
And in your slides and in your pitch, the only thing that you mentioned about science was numbers. So please shed some light on the science behind this and how this plays out.
Yeah, so basically we take the data that no one wants to bother reading. We know how to do the research and we know how to look at which data. So for example, let's say that you want to look at a tomato. We're going to look at how much fertilizers are used, how much water, how much energy, etc. There are many of them. And all of that, we turn them into an equation, essentially, that will form the scales that we've shown.
So it's both the nutrition aspects of the food as well as the environmental or kind of sustainability issues. Is this, you're covering both of them?
We're covering both of them, but separately. The 4 parameters are listed separately because we believe that we can't really combine them like together. So our solution was to create those 4 parameters that people could see in one glimpse instead of having just one big numbers, like for example, let's say carbon footprint, because numbers make it more abstract, and giving a score is not something that people are too much interested in.
So I was just leading you to give the response to Kasso because he was wondering how do you get this app in front of all the people.
Yeah.
And you know, people who like you are overweight and you have to worry about your diet, you will just be pointed to that. Yes, you've lost weight, but that's it. Thank you for the good pitch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you, Pinky. But hey, next up, we're going to hear about how this next team is showing how the apps are maybe not the best way of going, especially when it comes to electric car charging. So let's hear about this more from Mariana from Faro. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Ronnie. So, Ronnie, I don't know if you know, but by 2025, 1 out of 3 cars sold in Europe are expected to be electric. And when you have an electric car, eventually you need to charge publicly. And for that, you need a phone and you need multiple apps, really multiple apps. Not every app works with every charger, and not every charger works with every app. It's really confusing. Really confusing. This is why we decided to invite Vasi, that we will be pitching here later on today with another team, to actually show this delightful experience for you. And as of now, this is how you would be welcome to charge your brand new electric vehicle.
But it was really confusing, and then, yeah, I don't know. How are people supposed to do that?
Been saving
So yeah, it was a really frustrating experience. There's no clear instructions. It was a tiny text. I was missing my glasses at this point. 'Cause, you know, you actually need to like look into it to see anything.
Whoa, now there's today, oh, now there's today. Now there's today, oh, mama, oh, now there's today. Now there's today, oh, now there's today. Now there's today, oh, mama, oh, now there's today. Well, I was walking in the darkness, I had not yet seen the light. I was sleeping with the bad ones, I thought I had won the fight. At the peak of my delusions, I left money, whores, and cars. Now I'm walking in the sunlight, broken, battered, bruised, and scarred, but I'm so happy. Now there's today, oh, now there's today. Now there's today, oh, mama, oh, now there's today. Now there's today, oh, now there's today. Now there's today, oh, mama, oh, now there's today.
The fact that I had to like squat down to actually see any kind of instructions.
You got a good workout.
Yeah, I gotta get workout.
Bang, bang, bang.
We truly, truly believe a greener future should not be inconvenient, especially when you have 1 million public charging sessions happening every day. That's why we created the Lighthouse. The Lighthouse as a concept works in the same fashion as a lighthouse works for the ships and vessels. So it's this beacon of guidance for customers at point of sale, so they can be informed in the language that they speak. They can be guided through their mobility journey, and they can pay as they pay for everything else with Google Pay, Apple Pay, a card. The beauty of the Lighthouse is that you can retrofit any location that already exists. For example, the location that we saw in the video, you can just pop a lighthouse there. In terms of where we are, we have a working prototype that has exactly the same components as the real deal. And speaking about the real deal, we just closed our very first paid pilot. In the UK, with one of the biggest charge point operators in the world. Our business model is a hybrid one. We do sell the hardware, but the component that we are more interested in is this one called visitor's fee. So e-mobility has 60% year-over-year growth, and this is how Faro will serve in this growth together with the market. Our team is me, Mariana, Virva, which is this beautiful blue Nordic eyes that you saw in the video, and also Sami and Danielle that are chipping part-time at the moment. Follow us on LinkedIn, Faro e-mobility, and pay attention to us making a less inconvenient electric world for you. Thank you.
Thank you for the lovely pitch. There's a couple of ground rules that over the past more than a decade during these programs we have as coaches regarding presentations that should not be done. One of them is videos. But like with everything, like an era comes to an end and a new era starts. Like with electric vehicles, you have, I think that, you know, this was the first time somebody used a video, so that it was, and it actually worked. So congratulations for breaking the rules and changing the future. Now, and also congratulations on the pilot. Now, what I'm worried about is not about what you've done, what the opportunity is, but the size of your team and the opportunity that exists. Scaling from 4, where you mentioned like one is part-time, how do you plan to conquer this market, seize this huge opportunity without someone replicating your successful concept?
So in terms of the team, I'm very happy to say that both of them will join us full-time in the next 6 months, so that's already agreed. And when it comes to scaling, I think that one thing that is important is to understand this industry. I've been working in this industry for already 6 years, and it's an industry with very few players. When you get in bed with one of the providers, you get access to the whole network. For example, this pilot that we just landed, they have more than 10,000 connectors. So if you are in bed with them, you can actually scale very quickly because you scale through them, basically. There are very few players, charge point operators, so it's not an easy sell. But when you do it, then you scale with them. That's how we plan to do it.
What's the call to action? What do you want from us? What do you need?
Yeah, so at the moment, we just want to successfully do this pilot, and after that we have proved that we have a working solution in the market, then we will be looking for funding. But at the moment, we are not looking for anything. We are just delivering.
First comment, a team picture. Awesome presentation, and then you just had 4 names. Like, show a picture of you 4 laughing in front of the lighthouse or something like that.
Okay, so the team picture, yes. Okay, I'm a bit shy, and I just didn't feel like putting, basically. And I was here, you saw Virva and the guys. One is here, the other is there. I don't have an answer for that. No. But if you're interested in a picture, I can send you afterwards.
Awesome. Thank you. And one last question. The hardware, is it?
Sorry, can you repeat
the hardware?
Yes.
Is it all yours, or is part of it off the shelf, or how does it come together?
No, so the hardware, we partnered up with a company in Portugal, Partem. They do generic kiosks. They do from Dubai to Norway. And basically, we went there and we say, we want to build this product, and they advise us in the components. So they will assemble and do all the quality assurance for us, but we do all the software, and we also do all the configuration and so on.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. In our third presentation, this team is now showing how to teach creative work to the people. And I have to say that they have been really successful doing that. Because look at me, what I was able to do with the crochet without any experience. So, so yeah, this is a big accomplishment. So hey, let's give it up for Reti from Unilabel. Welcome.
Handcrafting is a word that probably creates a lot of different relations for everyone in their heads. But for me, it reminds me of the time when I was in middle school and I was given a pattern. And to be honest, I wasn't sure at all what I was making or why, but I was really sure that it was going to be great. However, my skills didn't really add up to the project, and it was my mom who ended up making it for my teacher. Handcrafting is a skill set that seemingly got lost in time, and the youth doesn't really relate to it nowadays. However, does that mean that this need for tangible self-expression is also lost? During the pandemic, as life moved online, it was only logical that people started to long for a certain tangibility in their everyday lives. This new way of living made a doorway for a lot of forgotten activities to be rediscovered again. Handcrafting made its headway in the form of expressive knitwear and crochet items. Inspired by celebrities like Harry Styles or the Olympic swimmer Tom Daley, people were excited to experiment again. In Scandinavia, this trend was noticed by bigger brands who decided to collaborate with influencers in order to reach a completely new target audience. So what if we amplified this growing trend? Uni is a design brand that offers its customers the experience of making their own designer garments. The market is looking quite promising. Based on the turnover of some of the biggest crafting material sellers in Finland, Novita and Eurokangas, the crafting market made an impressive number of 63.6 million euros in only 2018. In addition, the Finnish people paid more than 6.4 million euros for Netflix and 1.7 million euros for BookBeat subscriptions in only 1 month. Our landscape is looking quite spacious. Our main competitors are yarn manufacturers and crafts magazines who target crafts enthusiasts of older generations who already know how to follow traditional handcrafting patterns. But we will lead the way through modernized user experience, trendy designs to younger audiences. Our process is simple, and it starts when an idea is translated into a design pattern. Then, pre-release marketing is done to create hype and notify the customers of an upcoming product. And then, a launch and purchases are made. We have already tested the first stages of this process, as Ronnie very generously demonstrated. Our journey to success is divided into 3 stages. Currently, we are building a community. When we establish a social media presence and bring a following, then we can test our first product market fit, as well as gain access to first revenue streams of customer purchases. Then, as our following has grown, we can start acting as an influencer. We will launch an application that allows us to introduce a subscription model and highlight affiliate partnerships. And the third stage, to finally simplify the user experience as much as possible, we will launch an e-commerce. Through our web store, we will sell assembly kits complementary to our application, which contain everything one needs in order to create their own design garments. And in addition, we get to collaborate with big manufacturers to provide us with the materials. The Uni team, the team of 3, consists of Vera, Ella, and I. We are a team who dares to dream and stand out. Coming from backgrounds of design and marketing, we are super excited to put our skills to use in establishing our first designer brand. We have already started to bring our community to life, but with your help, we can grow faster. We are looking for advisory board members, mentors, and investors, so let's stay in touch. Check out our website, unilabel.com, or read this QR code with your mobile phone. Thank you. And now I would like to welcome on stage my team members, Vera and Ella.
Thank you for the very colorfully designed pitch. And one thing that's, what does it look like? The app, do you have any, or is it ready yet?
Currently, we are in the stage of building our community and social media presence. So you can check out our Instagram, for example, where we have already created this interest in what we're doing, creating this kind of like mysterious, kind of aesthetics that we're going for. And after this demo day, our first next step is to release the same bucket hat pattern that Ronnie was wearing, of course, a little bit improved.
Yeah. And so you had community influencers and the e-commerce part. So how do you see, what are kind of the steps in developing the community and starting to develop that out? You mentioned Instagram. What else are you doing community-wise?
Well, basically, we're going to start with Instagram and just going from our friends to expand to their friends and kind of doing this like word of mouth, but in a digital way. And yeah, basically, because we want to reach younger audiences, we want to utilize the social networks where they actually are in already. So Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff.
Thank you. I remember when we first met, and I was like, we had the encounter, and then the second time, and I was like, okay, so what is this? And then I received an enlightenment. in the form of my partner actually then saying, all of a sudden she said that she wants to sort of like, she asked me whether I like sweaters, and I said yes, well it's cold in Finland, so I do like sweaters, and then she said she's gonna knit me one. And then all of a sudden, next day she shows up, you know, pictures, and I'm like, you know, what is this, and what are these reels, and what are these posts? And it was a kind of a style called riddari. So it's from Iceland, and it has these, and all of a sudden it has tens of thousands of Instagram posts and reels, and everybody's sort of like, and when you go to Tori, the marketplace, there's people selling those. So all of a sudden I understood what you're up to. And it's really cool to sort of like, Kassu, you should also do that. Understand, I mean. It's really, I think that you're onto something that is really big. And I like the community aspect where you're starting from and then building based on the community, because that is kind of, there's so many other angles that can play a role. You know, with the pandemic, knitting with the other older generation and so on and so forth. So my question to you is, how do you plan on doing the business-to-business side of things? Talking about Novita and those garment providers, do you have a plan for that?
Yes, we actually do. So through our application, we are looking for launching, we're looking for launching like affiliate collaborations where both like our consumers and then our business partners could benefit. So we could kind of use our brand as an influencer, since we already have built this following, and we can like generate sales to our partners through our application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hey, thank you, Unilabel. Hey, next we're going to hear about how streaming businesses haven't gotten yet the right tools to be able to analyze their audience correctly. So next team, we have been able to build that, and is now showing how they have been done. So hey, let's give it up for Antti from Kappa Inside.
I'm here to tell you about the new television. You might remember the times when we spent our free time watching TV broadcasts in our living rooms. From there, especially the Generation Z moved on to Netflix, and even the next step to peer-to-peer content. When it comes to live-streamed peer-to-peer content, Twitch is the most important channel. Actually, each month, large audiences, mostly Generation Z, spend 2.3 billion hours watching live streams on Twitch. At the same time, each month, 9 million streamers go live on their channels. For the streamers, the average viewer count is the only and most important metric that matters. That's the measure of success and improvement. For the first few weeks of this program, we were struggling to find a problem that is worth solving. Then we found a way to talk with the users, and we were able to identify a problem that is real and painful. We thought it might be the retention. It might be acquiring new users, but turns out it's actually not. The real problem is making the existing users come back over and over again, the retention. Our current MVP iteration is a weekly report on the most important metrics of the streamer, retention primarily. We send them a report that compares their own metrics compared to their own past performance, and also compared to other relevant benchmark streamers. Like we know, Generation Z might not be the biggest fans of emails, so they can order the report on any channel of their choice. It can be Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, even the email if they wish. 3 weeks ago, we were working with 2 pilot users. As of today, 16 full-time professional streamers are working with us, co-developing this product to solve an actual problem. Why is now a good time? Twitch is growing rapidly. It's doubling in size every 2 years, looking at revenue, view watch hours, channels online, and so on. Just last year, the ad revenue of Twitch alone bypassed $1 billion. But that is just the tip of the iceberg, because it doesn't include the money and the deals and the partnership between the streamers and the companies. And those are the actual main income for the streamers. At the moment, the current tools only tell stats that the streamers already know. They tell them how many viewers they had, but they already know that. There are no tools that show them the retention. How are the viewers coming back to watch the stream again? Actually, at the moment, the streamers have to trust on their hunch. There is no data. And that's what we are helping them with. We help the streamers go from guessing to knowing. Our company is called Kappa Insights. It consists of me, Antti Mäkipää. I'm the founder and programmer, so I have the technical skills to make it happen. Then I have Emma Salminen with me, who has the skills to make the streamers hear about us. And then also Antti Heiskala has been helping us in a product owner role for last few weeks. If you find it interesting, please check us out at kappainsights.com or approach us directly via email. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what do you want? What's your call to action? What do you want from us?
At the moment, we are not looking for funding. When we reach sufficient amount of subscribers, so that we have to grow it faster than we can with the manpower we have, or womanpower, for that matter, then we are looking for funding. But at the moment, we are just we hope to follow our progress.
Okay, thank you. The overall, this is every one of us who is into where the world is going to knows about the metaverse. And metaverse is, as we all know, consists of kind of it's a hypothetical approach towards the next level of how AR and VR become a part of us and how we consume all kinds of different things. And content is produced by big organizations, but also individuals, so peer-to-peer following. So understanding, giving tools to individuals who are content producers and wish to make a living out of that. That segment is growing, in importance and meaningfulness into the future. Now, my question to you is, how do you plan to scale? Because as you said, Twitch is growing. The number of those people who are active on Twitch is growing. But so the growth plan, how do you plan to grow? And the second thing is, are you serving the Twitch market, or are you also serving the content producers, on Twitch, but also onto other platforms, other kind of user interfaces for the content that they create? Those are the two questions.
Yes. If we believe that if we find that, for example, retention or some other unserviced metrics, analytics is very valuable for Twitch streamers and help them earn more, basically, we are selling them money. We believe that it's most likely generalizable to other platforms. So if it's really relevant for Twitch, we believe it's probably we can apply it to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, maybe nowadays, and so on. Twitch has its limits, that's true.
I like the slogan, selling them money.
Yes, first of all, refreshing to see an old school whiteboard and instead of, just slides. And I think that was a great trick that you did there. And you talked a lot about retention, and that's your thing. Where do you get the data for the retention? It's Twitch, right?
Yeah, there's an API on Twitch that gives us the list of chatters that we can get, and then we have been collecting them every 3 minutes, and from that we can tell 3 minutes precision how the people are coming back to the channel.
And it's a public API?
It's a public API. No one is for some reason doing at the moment.
Okay, so someone else could do this with a bit of math and access to the API, and they would get the retention as well. And I felt that you were really going at the retention, that's your thing. What if someone else does retention as well? What plans do you have then?
Well, it's a competition. We have to do it better, like anywhere. Well, that's true. We don't have any special access to the for the data needed to calculate the retention. So honestly, I don't have an answer for you. We are trying to find the best way to help the streamers grow their content, and at the moment, retention is the one that they don't get at all.
Okay, and the 16 streamers, what have you learned from them so far?
Well, that's a big question.
Top 2 things.
Sorry?
Top 2 things.
I really should be able to answer this from the top of my head. I think we have learned that one thing is that, well, first of all, this is a data they don't get from anywhere. Twitch doesn't give this, no other analytics give this. And also kind of the structure of their income from the sponsors, from subscriptions, from the structure how they make their livelihood.
Yeah, and then what's the big vision here? What's the world going to look like in 5 years because of you guys?
We are making the live streaming better, so enabling all streamers to perform on their best, not being tracked down by kind of unnecessary things, I would say.
Yeah. And did you have plans to move elsewhere than Twitch as well, or are you going with Twitch for the next few years?
I think that's what I was answering to Aape. So if this seems to be very relevant and valuable for Twitch streamers, we believe it will be also for content creators on other platforms.
I'm thinking that this is, you're in the research phase, right?
Yeah.
So I think this could be a beginning of a content brokerage kind of a thing, what has the most retention and acquiring rights, and so it's an interesting subject. I like the guy, and it's a different kind of an approach to, I remember I called you the nutty professor, sorry for that, doing that again, but it's, how did you come up with this idea is my question.
The original idea was, actually this was very close to the original idea. Then we took steps back to see other problems, and then we came back to this. So.
Yeah, but why? Where did it come from?
I'm a Twitch consumer myself, so somewhere from there.
Okay, and did you follow a streamer?
I'm sorry, Aape doesn't know what a Twitch consumer means because he just heard of it today.
No, my question to you is did you look at Twitch content producers and wonder how they make money, or how did you?
Not really. When you Twitch yourself into the mindset of coming up with ideas, then they come to you. I cannot explain to you, unfortunately.
Okay, cool. That's a good explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Antti. So let's continue with the gaming area. The next team is now going to show you the tool that analyzes the maps in a games by using the new kind of machine learning algorithm. And I have no expertise to tell this more, but let's give a huge applause for Amin from Amma Games. Welcome to the stage.
Hi, my name is Amin, and I'm here to introduce ML Games, a machine learning solution that game developers can use to automate the level design process for their games. There are more than 200 game studios in Finland, and having a look at their revenue shows that the Finnish gaming industry is in its golden age now. However, game development is a very tedious process. One of the main challenges in game development is how to design new levels for your game. This is usually done in 4 steps. So first, the developers have to create the whole layout for the level. Then they have to add objects and props. And then, when the level is ready, they have to test it. And if everything goes according to the plan and the test is okay, then the level is ready to publish. But usually that's not how it works. Usually there are lots of issues in the levels that need to be fixed before the level is ready to publish. For example, it's very probable that you see something like this, some problem, like some kind of unpassable set of stairs in your level that needs to be fixed. Then the level designer has to jump in and update the layout of the level just to fix this problem. And when the level is updated, it's time to test it again. So here in this test, the player is able to actually pass this part of the level, but the same process has to be repeated for every small part of the level before the level is ready. This vicious cycle needs to be repeated too many times for any new level, and this takes a lot of time from the game developers to create content for their game. This is where ML Game jumps in. So we offer machine learning solutions that can automate the design layout and the testing steps for the level design process. ML Games is currently focusing on only endless runner games, such as Subway Surfers, because our market studies show that 40% of the top free-to-play games are in this genre. Our system takes as input the building blocks of the game and how they would behave, and then it will use machine learning to generate new levels that are totally novel. And our system is actually randomized, so every time you use it, it will give you a new level. And it's also parametric, meaning that you can use it to generate a lot of levels in, for example, different sizes or difficulties. And when the level is ready, you need to test it. And in this stage, ML Games offers machine learning and AI agents that can actually test your level, and after that give you some report, including the important KPIs, such as the pass rate, the number of collected coins, and the difficulty of the level. And based on your needs, we have several agents with different skills, but the more powerful agents would need a little bit more time to test your levels, obviously. But luckily, since our system will be running on the cloud, we can provide fast simulations of the levels in only a few minutes. And regarding our current situation, we are currently adding more algorithms to our pipeline to extend it to more complex levels and agents. We are building our website such that anyone can use ML Games as a service. And finally, we are reaching out to different gaming companies to find our first customers. I hope that you like this presentation. Here you can see the list of all the co-founders of ML Games, and I'll be happy to answer your questions now. Thank you.
What's your ask? Well, why are you pitching? Well,
You want money?
advice? Facebook likes?
It's just we would like to first find our customers, and at first we would probably be willing to offer our services for free, because right now we are not sure what would be the correct business model for the startup. For example, should it be like a subscription-based service, or like should it be like a contract-based one, or how should it work? So first, we are like looking to find customers who are willing to use our service and give us feedback, and then we can like finalize our system.
Yeah. So you're looking for pilot customers.
Yep.
Yeah. And can you talk a bit about the competition?
The competition, there are actually, I only know like one other startup who has like barely touched this problem, but it's in like in Denmark. But like other than that, I don't know like any other people who are working this. Like there are some approaches or algorithms that can do part of like what we are doing, but it's not like a user-friendly service that you can actually use. There's a lot of coding and a lot of like hassle before you can actually plug it into your pipeline.
How big is the market? Like you showed the numbers of the Finnish like revenues of the Finnish game industry that is now stagnated. Mm-hmm. How many new levels would be, or what is the impact? Just stupid question from me. Always stupid questions. Would that revenue then rise? If I, for example, Kassu runs a failing games company and he's struggling with life and he doesn't get sleep at night. Does giving him access to a tool that allows him to create endless number of great levels, does that make him sleep better? That means that does this convert? Is there a hypothesis somewhere that this converts into additional revenues for the companies, or is it a cost-saving exercise? What is the impact of these levels that you generate kind of more fluently and faster?
Yeah, actually there are a number of factors that affect like the churn in the users of free-to-play games. But one of the most important ones is like the difficulty of the levels. For example, I'm not sure like how to like exactly explain it in just a few sentences, but usually you have to like kind of balance the difficulty such that you have like some easy levels, some medium levels, a little bit of hard levels, and then again some easy levels. And this balancing is not very trivial, and you have to do a lot of testing before you can actually like find this correct order for your levels. So our system would be very useful for giving you this kind of estimation or this kind of roadmap for how to put your levels and how to build them, so you can offer them to users so they can actually like keep playing your game for a longer time, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So using your service would enable games companies to make their users love their games more, and thus enable them to accelerate their business growth.
Yeah, so
that's something that he should probably state in the slides, right? Yeah.
Okay. So one of the main challenges for free-to-play games is that like in the first year after you launch your game, there are just lots of issues and lots of problems before like actually you just like hit the point where your game is actually interesting and the players like keep coming back to play it. So you have to just like tweak a lot of things before you reach that point. And like one of the most important challenges here is like just the difficulty of the levels. And for that you need to use, I don't know, maybe hundreds of like human players to test your game and give you like very like useful feedback so you can actually like test it. But with ML games you would be able to kind of like offload that to kind of AI agents that would do that for you automatically.
They should be hiring, there should be a question mark kind of a thing, hiring a guy who sells this to the games companies, right? But this is backed, your statements are backed by research, right?
I'm sorry?
Your statements, what you're saying is backed by research, so there's kind of evidence for what you're saying?
Yes, actually I've been like a game developer for 10 years, like so kind of.
And yeah, one more question about the AI agents. So what risks do you see in testing games with AI?
Well, there is usually some margin of error for how accurate AI would like measure how difficult each level is, and so this would be a part where we need to be very careful on how we would like sell the product. So we should always like kind of mention this to a user, that there is some margin of error that you need to be aware of. Of course, we would be like able to fix that, remove that margin of error if we are able to customize our service for each specific game. But for that, we would need like some additional data from the companies. So if the companies are able to give us their data, we can actually customize our system and like remove that error.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Amin. The ever-increasing number of elderly people are constantly needing more and more help, especially in the future. But luckily we have now young people here to help create new kind of way of tackling this issue. So let's give a time for Anton for telling how his team is going to tackle this issue. So let's give an applause to Mormor.
One. It works. Thank you, Ronnie. Just wondering how many people here do have elderly parents, maybe grandparents? Quite many, yeah. Well, it's the same as me. My grandmother, she's over 80 years old, and in our family we made a decision that we don't want to send her to an elderly house. Instead, we want to take care of her on our own. So now it's me, my parents, cousins, siblings. All of us are taking care of our granny. And the journey hasn't been that easy for us. Well, first of all, because the caregiving itself is difficult, but now we also have to balance between our own schools, works, our own families, and the caregiving. So during the summer, together with the team, we decided to do something about it. Our company called Mormor. And we aim to redefine how families are taking care of their elderly loved ones. We are building an application that will help families to keep track of their caregiving activities and share the responsibilities. In one care space with all the family members, the caregiving and the communication could happen more efficiently. And additionally, we guide people throughout their caregiving journey with the knowledge and the best practices. We plan to sell our solution with a subscription model for one care space. The caregiving system around the world is failing. With a rapid aging, the quality of the services of the caregiving in the facilities and the home care is dropping fast. And there are many attempts to tackle this problem by increasing the healthcare capacity, but it is not enough. Now, also families need to take an act. We have a multidisciplinary team with a focus on the product, partnerships, marketing, and other business areas. And we are driven by understanding the problem with our personal experience of the family caregiving. We have a mission to bring families together and make them, instead of delegating their caregiving activities to somebody, bring it back inside the families and have their joint efforts focused on the caregiving. So far, based on the customer interviews and our own research, we made the first version of our application, the prototype of it. And there are 4 main functions that we want people to do with it. Firstly, we want people to coordinate their care. In one space with all the people, there is a better overview of the current situation with all the tasks, calendars. It is easier to schedule your visits and share the responsibilities. Then, we want people to communicate more efficiently. And there is a care feed for that, where people can share the updates, some requests, and notes. Next, we want people to manage their medication. And medication, that's a crucial part of the caregiving. So we want to help people to keep track of their medications and never forget to take some medication or forget about the medication that is running low. And lastly, we want people to learn more about their caregiving. It is difficult, and well, none of us has been really trained for that. Most probably it happens for the first time in your life. So we want to give people their knowledge and the best practices to help them make a better informed care decision. So where we are now, currently we are running several marketing campaigns, collecting subscribers, and introducing our brand to the public. At the same time, we are preparing our first pilot with several public organizations in Finland. The goal of our pilot to test the products, collect the customer feedback, and better understand the customer pains. If you think that this problem is relevant to you, check out our application in more detail at mormor.online. get in touch with us and share your story. But meanwhile, stay tuned for the results of our first pilot. Thank you.
Thank you very much for presenting Mordor to us. The what was the name of? The name is
Mormor.
And what does it mean?
Granny in Swedish, I've been told.
Yes, good, good. So let's emphasize that.
Yeah.
I like the approach because it, as mentioned earlier, what it does is it actually sort of like puts transforms the problem into a person, and I think that's really positive. I love the approach. I'm worried about a couple of things. One, how do you scale? And how do you protect your position? Those are because this is something that is needed. I think that the approach is kind of a novel. Your approach is novel. There is uniqueness to it. There's tremendous scalability. If you look at the slides and the user flows, I could well imagine that being a part of Facebook 48.0. Once they notice, this is a market, and let's implement it. So how do you plan on scaling and getting those numbers, and how do you get the retention that the Twitch guy just talked about? How do you get to keep these guys and protect your business position?
Yeah. I don't have an exact answer to an immediate one,
That's
but
good.
that's what we are doing in the pilot form. So we want to better understand our customer needs. So far, we found that this problem exists, and we want to have some solution for that, but we want to understand it more in more details. What exactly is this small problem that customers have every day, so that because with these calendars and tasks, I think that with the time you get used to it, you remember that, okay, there is a number of tasks I have to do at this schedule, so maybe the retention is going down, it's sad. But then, so we are still looking for this small problem that people have that we want to solve, and we will bring enough value to them that they will be ready to pay money for it.
The idea is a subscription model that is kind of a per individual or?
Per the care space. So there is several people using an app where one elderly person is in the middle.
Yeah.
So per this space, that's one subscription.
Okay, thank you.
And you mentioned that multiple people are using the app, so who is exactly using the app?
So take an example. So it's my grandma who is 80. She lives in the home, and we need to organize who comes when, who brings food, who organizes cleaning, and so on. So it's me, that's my parents, both of them, and they're doing separately. They have their own jobs, and we need to organize together. Then it's also my aunt, our cousins, who also wants to help. So we are the end users. The elderly person itself is not an end user of the application, but we are.
What about, because one of them was kind of managing medication. Do you know, occasionally, when family members are helping elderly, they also might have someone from the public sector, visiting their home as well. So do nurses have access to the app as well, or are they going to be integrated somehow?
Yeah, that's a good comment. That's one of the options how we are looking how to combine it. Maybe even in the future for B2B sales, maybe we can also propose it to some facilities where nurses are. So yes, potentially the nurses and people who support outside people, it can be not from the hospital, but somebody else could be responsible for it. Yeah. So of course, potentially it can happen outside people as well.
Yeah. And one more. That kind of, when I think of myself, and the biggest challenge in kind of taking care of my grandparents, for example, is time and geographical location.
Yeah.
I'm in a totally different location. So how would I be able to participate in the caregiving of my grandmother who lives 600 miles away?
Yeah, well, that's a good one. I think it will maybe have a bit different target audience ends of people who are closer, who are able to help more frequently. But maybe the caregiving then for you will mean that it's not only the physical contact that you need to make. Maybe there are some other things that you are doing and you're helping frequently without a physical contact, but something that this app will support you in doing.
Yeah, and I think that kind of just being part of the caregiving circle as well, just having that information gives.
If you're anyway coming sometimes, you're giving some help occasionally, and it can be used for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kassu's comment actually opened a can of worms. Kind of the integration with I'm afraid that if you start opening up with medications, there's comes, this like, are you officially authorized to even share the health information of an individual, and integrating into the official AGUS, whatever, Apotti or whatever failing project they ever have implemented. So are you conducting research on, what are the limits, what you as a private service provider, because I'm afraid that you might be sort of like off to a good start, and then somebody comes and says, you're not allowed to do that.
Well, so far we haven't met any of those limitations, at least about exploration of the pilots. But you're right, of course, when we would want to bring some integrations from some, uptake yard, like any public services, an actual integration of the data, then of course I think we will meet some. So far, the idea was that it will be for an actual use where a person would enter these details, and nothing prevents us from collecting this information.
Great pitch, I'd say. Yep. Great guy, great idea, because everybody should be taking care of the parents or the grandparents every day.
Exactly.
Because you all will be one day older. Every day you're getting older, like us, you too.
And me too. Thank
you. Yes, thank you, Anton. But hey, food is one of our central topics in our human life. But how much do you actually think about what to put in your mouth? Luckily, we have people here telling about and giving you advice how to do it more easy way and also more healthily. So let's give a time for Christina to tell about this more, how they have been thinking to do this in NOMS.
How come for something as fundamental as food, something all of us engage in 3 times a day, we have been left alone to figure out how to do it right? Think about it. Most likely, no one ever taught you how to make food for yourself. And with all the recipe apps and books and blogs existing, how come that when all of you go home tonight, you will have most likely no clue what you're gonna eat? I can tell you right now what's gonna happen. Either you will eat pasta, again, for the 3rd time this week, or you will try to freestyle with what you have, but end up eating something highly questionable. Or you will spend 1 hour trying to look for inspiration online, but end up ordering food anyway. You don't want to actually read blogs or filter through 1 billion search results, or read about what someone else believes are the 86th easy best dinner recipes. And when you look for something that may simplify daily food, you're often forced to choose one or the other. Convenience or money, money or health, and health or taste. But what if you actually didn't have to choose? Then you would have food that is easy to make, fast to prepare, it's affordable, it tastes phenomenal too, and it keeps you alive longer. And how do we do that? With NOMS. So when Anna and I met in January, we talked about how all of us freestyle our way around something as important as food. And when we put together her understanding and love for human behavior and my background as a Michelin chef, we realized that we're actually in the perfect position to create NOMS for everyone, every day. So Anna and I want to honor the effort you already make by cooking, so we'll make everything else easy. So let's imagine you go home tonight and you see some chicken that's cheap in the store or left in your fridge. And sure, you can go ahead and eat it plain, or you could simply look it up and not only instantly know how to use it, but also learn with what other ingredients to combine it with, so that you can decide faster on what to cook with what you have. And if you're lacking inspiration, we show you 5 daily suggestions based on your personal taste too. Now the most important part is that we'll never show you more than 5 ever. And what about actually making the food? All it takes is 5 ingredients and 3 steps. And in fact, we've completely rethought recipe presentation so much that now it fits onto one screen. So what we do is we turn this into this. And we believe this should be the standard of the industry. This new format has never been seen before. Without reading the recipe beforehand, you can just follow top to bottom. And because food is highly visual, all text has been replaced by icons and images. Also, obviously, you no longer need to scroll or touch your phone with dirty fingers anymore.
And because measuring in grams takes effort, you can use your hands and eyes to measure intuitively instead. If you don't like an ingredient, you can simply swap it too, and our recipe will do the job and adapt the processes, quantities, and time and prices in real time. Now, the great thing is that this design we've created can be applied to any dish we create, like really any. And if you decide on a dish you want to cook, we optimize your groceries too, so that you only need one trip to the grocery store to make a week's worth of food and use up all of your ingredients. More food, less money, and zero waste. Now, to achieve this, why Noms is better is because choosing what to eat cannot be simpler based on our personalization and ingredient search. Preparing food is efficient thanks to our one-screen recipes, and also they're all easy, fast, cheap, healthy, and tasty too. And saving money and time by fully using up all of your ingredients cannot be more effortless than with our bundles. Now, to achieve this, Noms needs Anna, a human-computer interaction developer who knows how to design and implement apps based on a deep understanding of human behavior, and myself, a Michelin chef who knows how to create food that is tasty and high quality, of course, but also how to engineer it to be as efficient as possible and fit 5 criteria with 5 ingredients. Now, combined, we can redefine how people cook on a daily basis. And we want to show you that other people believe in what Noms is about as well. We've managed to grow our Telegram channel from 0 to, as of this morning, 430 people. And they are already using Noms recipes in their daily lives. Our goal is to keep on growing, develop the app, and ultimately create a software that is capable of translating any recipe into our format so that it becomes the new standard for everyone, every day. So, reach out to us if you are a machine learning developer or are an advisor with knowledge in product development or contacts in the industry, because this is where we're at right now, and we aim to be the last solution the food world needs, but we like to start with you here. So we are Noms, and join us to rethink the standard of home cooking for everyone, every day. Thank you.
Sold, yeah. No, but you started off really strong. I mean, I've eaten tacos 3 times this week, and it's what, Thursday? So, and even though you don't like have paying customers, really loved it that you showed traction, even if it was Instagram or Instagram likes, right?
Telegram.
Yeah, but you were still able to show traction, show points and props for that. Then let's say I'm allergic to egg. What happens then when I open your app?
Thank you for that question. Allergies are the reason why I had to step away from Michelin star restaurants, so that hits very home. Because of that, I think that is as fundamental as in any food app right now, so we of course pay attention to people's dietary restrictions, allergies, and all of that. And in fact, some of the recipes we previously saw, all of those that we test right now are always for omnivores, but also for vegans, so we already covered that. And then, of course, in the app, we would also pay attention to allergies, the same way that restaurants do. So that is something that goes without saying.
And yeah, can you talk a bit about the competition? Is anyone doing anything like this remotely?
Also, really lovely question. So for competition, we don't actually compete with recipe apps. And the reason why is because we are not a recipe app. The problem with recipe apps is that all of them are made the same way. So all of them show recipes the same way, and they only change a couple of features. So of course, everything around that is nice, but the actual problem of people finding cooking hard doesn't get solved. So that is why we are actually competing with other ways that you could eat on a daily basis. So we're competing with fast food places, restaurants, student canteens, and delivery. And while, of course, delivery is the only one that can beat us in effortlessness, because, well, you still gotta cook, everything else is the only way, so the only way that you can actually control what you put in your body, taste-wise, health-wise, price, or speed, is if you do it yourself. So I think it goes without saying that if we look at this, it's a lot of information, but if we look at this really quickly, cooking is the only way that we can make food as fast as we want, as cheap as we want, because Noms Foods is under €4 per serving. and as healthy and tasty as we want.
Yeah, as a person who cooks, I just love the idea. And I want to thank the organizers and our ecosystem of having the luxury of putting people like these together and creating something like this, because this is fabulous. I think it proves why we all exist. Thank you for doing that. Now, you have so many things that you're actually doing that could be big things. Like you say that you could actually transform. You have the design of one screen recipe for cooking anything and everything is kind of, because I know, you have these books open and then somebody folds something and you're like, oh my God, what should I do now? So that's one thing that could be done, that could scale. You are simultaneously, you're approaching kind of the Mickey Kuusi kind of, I'm not calling him by name, but saying that, that kind of a market. You're competing with the transformation of our Western societies. Simultaneously, this could be global, looking at Venner and also looking at, the app that talks about sustainability. So there's a lot of stuff that you could focus on. And you're a team of two, right? So I'm saying there's a whole lot of potential, but how are you not gonna fail, or how are you gonna not fail, kind of? The next steps, I love this, the first next step is. I like the fact that they have these slides, kind of cool. Who's been doing this?
How are we not going to fail? So, of course, we're going to keep on growing and mobilize the current people that we've already amassed. And we have to say that those 430 people were only in 10 weeks, so we're quite motivated and positive that we're going to get that up over the next couple of months. And I think the most important part, how we're especially not going to fail, is that we need to build trust. So right now the issue in that industry is that when you go to Google and have to filter, you trust what someone else believes is really good for you, but how would you ever know that that is actually what is good for you? And what we want to establish is to put trust first, because, oh, I thought I saw a sign to stop, but I'll just finish the sentence. The fact is that I am a professional behind this, and I know a lot of chefs, but not a lot of chefs are Michelin chefs, and not a lot of chefs that are Michelin chefs come from the place where I learned, which is the Institut Paul Bocuse. He's one of the biggest cooks of all time. And we are trained to solve efficiency issues in general. So, of course, design things, anyone can do that, but the content behind that, it's not really easy replicable.
That was a bold one. Anyone can design things.
I have to leave because it's 6 minutes, but oh, okay.
I was just about to say, why would she need to leave? You get people like this here, and you're on this program, and then you tell them, get out of here. That's not nice. Why Kassu? You know Saku Tuominen from Finland. Yeah, and Jyppy Sukula, all these kinds of. Now, Saku and they have been running a global program that they just launched somewhere, somehow. That is an app to make all the one ring to rule them all. Now, there's a lot of stuff that could be done, but still, I'm saying, this is good. Mobilize the current user base, but what are you gonna be the world's best at? Is kind of my question, because this is all this is boring stuff.
Okay, so I love this question, specifically because the reason why we can be the world's best and not other recipe creators or other two girls that come together and have fun is because, first of all, we do have fun, but first of all, any recipe creators right now are not in touch with the people consuming the recipes. So kind of touching upon what I said before, that anything existing right now is made with the assumption that people like to cook. The truth is that probably 3/4 in here don't actually like to do it, but do it because they have to. So that is already one thing. While I do have the knowledge, Anna is also exactly someone that I would also target. So working together, whatever recipe I create, I have instant check on whether or not this is too hard or this is just the right thing for the people we're targeting. So I think that is something that normal, conventional recipe creating companies do not have, because they hire creatives that recipe creation is their job. But especially, for example, when we talk about Michelin chefs, no one of these people will go and do that, because as sad as it sounds, a lot of chefs don't want to do 5-ingredient recipes, because while it looks to the eye very simple for users, the work behind it is very complicated, but then we only have such limited resources. So the whole point of Michelin chefs, they're in it for the art. So they use, of course, a lot of ingredients and a lot of herbs and pretty things and all of that, and we cannot use that because we're targeting everyone. So we're targeting the people that will eat pasta 3 times if they don't have another option.
They're trying to be Henry Ford and do what T. Ford did to automotive industry, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now have a short break, about 4 minutes, and then continue at 7:30. So everyone who's here in the tent, you have drinks back there, and then toilets are outside. And we'll have the next team on the stage at 7:30.
I've been going down the wrong kind of road all the time. Left my home and been looking for a place I can't call mine. You're gonna see me shine underneath the city lights, so bright they blind me. The world is at my feet, like living in a dream. Come find me. Meet me in California. Meet me in California. So amazing, I've been walking on cloud 9. I finally made it, just me, myself, and I. You're gonna see me shine underneath the city lights, so bright they blind me. The world is at my feet, like living in a dream. Come find me. Meet me in California. In California. Meet me in California. White silicon eyes, watching storms, sitting quiet, reading books in the heat of city lights. Bored, everyone's bored. When I'm restless, put me under the nightlife stars, and I will feel grounded. I know I'm just a girl, but can I become nighttime dreamers, the streetwalkers, the small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers, and we become nighttime dreamers, the streetwalkers, the small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers, and real life. The quiet lust belongs to all of us and drives us closer into the madness of the world of a girl. And it suits me just like, 'cause everyone lies and nobody lies and somebody dies right now. I hear the quiet, sweet music but no one sings. And we become nighttime dreams, the streetwalkers, the small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers, and we become nighttime dreamers, the streetwalkers, the small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers, and real life knows what I dream about when I'm sober. Never turn away from love before the love you have is over. All I ever know is what I dream about when I'm sober. Never turn away from love before the love you have is over. Nothing can die while we are here. 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 So we become nighttime dreamers, streetwalkers, small talkers, when we should be daydreamers and moonwalkers and dream talkers, and we become nighttime dreamers, streetwalkers, small talkers, when we should be daydreamers. Nothing can die, daydreamers.
I see the dawn of a new beginning. This time we can't go home. I hear the streets of tomorrow calling. I go where you go. 'Cause we belong to something. We belong to something new. In the midst of the midnight hour, you said to me, we are of a different kind. Oh, like we've been kissed by a higher power, saying, don't wait until it's gone. 'Cause we belong to something. We belong to something. We belong to we are the ones that will be remembered, singing. This time we can't go home. Oh, like we've been kissed by a higher power, saying, don't wait step out into the dawn. You pray till the lights come on, and then you feel like you've just been born. Yeah, you come to raise me up when I'm beaten and broken up, and now I'm back in the arms of love. And I think I just died. I think I just died. Yeah, I think I just died. I think I just died. I went to heaven.
All right, hey, let's continue on that. So next up, we're going to hear the presentation regarding how the team perspective would be able to improve your morning routines by enabling the better experience from newspaper when reading it. So yeah, let's hear about. Welcome to the stage, Sampo.
We are here today because journalism, as we know it, is slowly dying. Media outlets, large and small, are increasingly adopting digital paywalls to augment dramatic declines in print revenues. But the question we ask is, how many paywalls are people actually willing to click past? Individually, for newspapers such as Helsingin Sanomat, Washington Post, or the Wall Street Journal, paywalls can make a lot of sense, but we think that for individual readers, they don't make a lot of sense. Potential subscribers must weigh new purchases against every publication they already subscribe to, which eventually leads to a problem called subscription fatigue, a tipping point where the consumer realizes she's already paying too much. Considering also the high cost of maintaining several subscriptions, we fear that there exists a real threat of professional quality news being cut off from those who cannot afford it. And that's why we, Perspect, are here to change this. We believe that journalism is about informing, educating, and therefore empowering citizens. It is not and should not be about strengthening inequality. And that's why our service aims at providing an easy-to-use solution which grants readers a centralized access to bundles of newspapers based on their own media interest and consumption patterns. We aim to offer all this with just one monthly subscription fee on our platform. Our value proposition consists of delivering diverse content with ease for the readers, and for the publishers, we aim to offer new revenue opportunities and larger target audiences. The business model itself is simple. Consumers pay one monthly subscription fee based on the amount of newspapers they take into their bundle, which will then be divided between the publishers based on the interest their content generates. Perspect will take a cut to cover expenses and generate profits. The market for digital subscriptions in Finland is estimated to be around 150 million euros, and it has been growing yearly. There exists competition, both direct and indirect, in Europe as well as in US. But we believe that first, by focusing on the Finnish small newspapers who do not currently have a working digital business model, our platform stands on solid ground to build forward. During the summer, we have validated our idea with potential customers with some positive feedback. We have discussed with industry experts, publishers, and other stakeholders to create a prototype according to their need. We built the prototype of our product as a mobile app. It consists of 2 distinct pages. The first one being the personal newsfeed, which is customizable according to the needs of the customer. Let's say, for example, she takes the following newspapers into her bundle. Then she takes the categories she finds as interesting, and it will create a real-time news feed from which she can read news. The second page, the search page, contains everything available on our website. It contains all the newspapers the customer can subscribe to and all the categories she can mark as interesting. It also has a basic news feed which contains all the articles which update onto our web platform. Our team of 3 is united by a passion for quality journalism. We have a diverse background, both in business and tech, and we share the vision for our platform. If you liked our idea, we would love to have some feedback from you, so don't hesitate to take contact with us. Here are some contact details for you. Thank you.
Could you iterate what stage are you at right now? That was a bit unclear.
Yeah, so during the summer we validated our idea and built the prototype. So basically we're still kind of in the phase where we're trying to test things to see whether this could work or should we try something else.
What does the prototype currently do?
Sorry?
What does the prototype currently do?
Well, it's not built with any actually functioning, working functions, but in a way where we can get feedback on, okay, hey, well, this is actually something we would like to have, or maybe you have to switch this. So it's in a really early stage where we can start testing the product.
Yeah. Have you been thinking about a business model already? How much would it cost?
Well, we haven't decided on any specific numbers, as obviously we would need to actually test to find out whether we can put the price to be, for example, 20 or 30 or 40, what's the right price range. But the idea we have is that there could be bundles which could kind of decide the price on the amount of newspapers you can take onto the website, on your subscription, which would then be divided between the publishers who provide the content.
Yep. Thank you. This is a solution that is required to somehow democratize or sort of like enable people who produce quality content to actually make a living out of producing that said content with subscription models. So I've been somewhat involved since early 90s, actually late 80s, actually, on the transformation of the media industry. I don't know. I've seen lots of things happen. But one of the things that hasn't been solved in the publishing industry is the solution provided in the music industry by Spotify or other streamers. So when that was launched, when Steve started selling the songs at a price of $1 a song back in the day, then and you would have wanted to buy 1,000 songs that would have been $1,000 and nobody paid that much, and that kind of somehow converged into a 10, 20 bucks a month, euros a month subscription. How do you think, my question to you is kind of in the same field of business approach. Are you giving the publishers, is your promise on more revenues, more usage? What is when you say that you hail for the journalism and want to give them additional revenues, is that new revenues, or what is kind of have you had discussions with publishers about whether they want new revenues or just want to stick to the users? What is your value proposition to them that would be unique? Because a lot of people have tried this. For example, one of the things that hasn't succeeded on the Apple platform is Apple News. It is a failure, but it's a kind of, why would you succeed?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really good question, and we have discussed with publishers. And the overall sense we get is that newspapers are willing to try out new things, especially the smaller newspapers don't currently have a working digital business models. And the aim would be that we would not compete with the publishers, but rather offer them people who they would otherwise not reach. For example, we had this one interesting discussion with a Swedish-based newspaper where like, hey, we'd love it if we could get some interested readers from Lapland area who they certainly do not reach in any other way. So we do not have a current answer on what makes us different from, for example, Apple, who has a bit more budget than us, but at least the aim is that we would offer new audiences for the publishers, and this would be the way in which we provide value to them.
Okay, that's I like the fact that the answer is they don't know yet, which is yeah, honesty, yeah. But you would need a working prototype. So how are you going to build what are your, and I'm once again quoting this lovely, what is your first next step? And what do you need from us? What do you want from us?
Well, currently we would love to get some feedback on what
the feedback is good.
Yeah, feedback is good, and the next step we want to take is reflect on the idea ourselves now after the program and see where do we want to go with it.
So they don't have a company yet, Kas. Or do you have a company?
We don't have a company yet.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sampo. Then, mental health issues are constantly rising among people, and it can be really hard to find the right kind of therapist to talk to, especially the one that actually speaks your home language. But luckily, we have our team, Safe Room, for tackling this issue. So let's give it up for Vasi to the stage.
If you break your arm, you go to a doctor. But if you break your heart, where do you go? Mental health issues are much more common than we think. Almost every single person experiences mental health issues in their lifetime, yet only half of those get the help that they actually need in Finland. There are mainly two reasons for that. One is being simply that there's not enough resources invested in mental health sector, and two, being lack of awareness. So basically, we as a society are just very poorly educated on the mental health issues. And as a result, we have plenty of stigma around the topic, which stops people from actually reaching out for the help that they need. And also, we fail to understand our own symptoms, we don't know where to go, and things like that. Finding a therapist is another issue. So once you've actually made that step, finding the right therapist is kind of a trial and error game. You have to go sometimes through very, very many therapists before you do that. And once you're already not feeling really well, that's not a really good thing. But the people that actually struggle the most are, as we call them, international people. People that live in foreign countries, people that come from multicultural backgrounds, people that travel and move a lot, right? So we would want to offer this pretty simple solution to this complicated problem, SafeRoom. A service that allows you to find the best matching therapist specifically for you, that actually understands you, speaks your language, and is ready to work with you. So if you've never reached out for a therapist before, you don't really know where to start, you go to our platform, you fill out a survey that takes a few minutes, and based on the answers, we will recommend you already a few specialists that we think would be the best matching ones for you. Or of course, you can scroll through the available therapists on the platform, choosing the filters that you think are important, whether it's their nationality, their cultural background, their professional specialization, or anything else that you find important personally. The next step is you start a therapy. When you found the right person to talk to, you start the online sessions with them. You can chat with them as well from the comfort of your own home or wherever you choose to be at the moment. Or of course, if you happen to be in the same location, you meet physically. So our target market is Finland in the beginning, and there are more than 400,000 people that speak other languages than Finnish as their mother tongue, Finnish or Swedish as their mother tongue, currently living in Finland, and the numbers are constantly rising. But since we're online based, there's no problem with going abroad or other countries and targeting other markets in the future. as well as our therapists can also be located anywhere in the world in order to actually have enough of them and with different cultural backgrounds. We're planning to charge 12 to 15% of commission fee per sale made via platform, and that's how we're thinking of making money. So our team is, at the moment, consists of 4 people. We all come from different backgrounds, therefore we can actually relate to the issues our target group is having. So we have Kaisa, she's Finnish, and she's currently finishing her public health master's degree in Sweden. Panemon, who is Chinese and Finnish, a business student that is going to be focusing in sales, already has a few years of experience in sales. Me, I come from Russian-Finnish family, and I have a business degree, and therefore I'm going to be covering the business aspects of the company. And then Chiara, who's Italian and was an exchange student here in Finland in Aalto, and she's our designer. Throughout the summer, we have done plenty of research. We have done surveys, we have done interviews with both potential users and the industry professionals, sorry. And we found out that the problem is 100% real. People do struggle with finding the right therapist, and even more so when they live in a foreign country. And unfortunately, the current situation in the Finnish market is that public healthcare and private healthcare cannot cover the demand existing for the mental health issues. So new solutions are highly, highly needed and are expected at the moment. We have been able to establish contacts within the communities, international communities in Finland, via all our personal connections and backgrounds, but also through Facebook groups. We have also found a few test users, which we're currently looking for specialists, even before we actually start a platform, because we've tested the idea, so we know that the problem is real, but now we're actually testing if our solution is worth it and what are the potential issues that can come across before we even start coding the platform, right? So we're gonna match them with the best specialists, see how the process works, and what are the potential issues they can come up with. We also have already a few specialists are interested to use their platform once we have it ready for testing, so for a bit later stage. Although the statistics are pretty sad, right? We believe that there is hope, because statistically people can get better if they get heard from the right people. So there's hope, and we really are sure that we can be the ones helping some people at least to get that hope and get that help. And for now, we're looking for industry professionals that would like to work with us to further develop our idea and join our team potentially. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. This is a big thing. This is how humanity deals with the pains of not just broken hearts but broken minds, and the pressures, I think, became really apparent during the current Olympics, or just the Olympics that were, because great athletes stepped out and said, dealing with the pressures is not, they couldn't cope with the pressures. And here in Finland especially, one thing that really didn't understand was that a young Finn, Oliver Helander, had a problem with his muscles, and he said that he's not certain whether he can throw javelin or not. And the old Finns came out and said, we did that when we were broken in our muscles, and that guy should go and throw. So that's kind of, in the past, people had to deal with pressures. Now, trust is an issue, especially here in Finland, because of quite recently we had issues with a private provider and security issues. I don't know whether you've heard of it. So that's kind of one thing. How do you plan on making certain that the data security and the trust is there, built into each component of your concept?
Yeah. So to quickly answer your question, we are aware about the Wastamo case, of course. But from my understanding and from what I've talked to people that understand more about this than me, about cybersecurity, the issue was they just didn't follow the basic regulations that exist. They were trying to save money on that, steal money. I don't know what they were doing with it. I'm not making any judgment right now because this is going to be online, for legal reasons. But they just didn't follow the regulations as they were supposed to. So at this point, if we just literally follow GDPR and the regulations that currently exist in the Finnish market in terms of data protection, there shouldn't be any issues, because that's what they're made for, these regulations, right? So like that's it. Also, we're going to try to avoid storing as much data as we can. So like we're going to use the necessary one, obviously. But since we're going to be using patient data, we're going to also like work with Finnish authorities on that. So we make sure that we have everything registered, official, and protected as it's supposed to be on the level of patient data in Finland. So there are regulations that we are planning to follow, hence we're not expecting any issues.
Okay, you should probably say something about that. That's just, just
okay.
The other, so this is free for the user.
Mm-hmm.
The user doesn't pay anything for this.
No, it's not. So basically, it's like in any therapy session, users pay for the therapist.
Yeah, but it's not for your service. I mean,
so
you make your money not from the user.
Have you ever booked an Airbnb? I would assume so, right?
Yes.
In the end, you have the price breakdown before you press book, right? So the same will happen to us. You have a price breakdown, which amount of tax and what goes to us and what goes to the actual therapist.
Yeah, but I mean that the end user doesn't have to subscribe to your platform and pay a monthly fee.
We don't want to do the subscription thing now.
Good, thank you.
Lovely start, lovely first sentence. And yeah, we were talking about data, and I was wondering about the matchmaking. So what type of data are you collecting from the therapist side and the patient side in order to be able to matchmake them? Yeah, so I mean, we're highly focused on the cultural aspect, obviously, and the languages. So like that's one of the most important things. So for example, if they lived in several countries and they have experience, the therapists, I mean, have experience in moving to another country and starting their life over there and things like that. So we're going to mainly focus on that. But obviously, if you're doing the questionnaire, the survey thing in the beginning that I mentioned, there will be questions related to the mental health as well, right? So not only like the cultural aspects of it, but like also obviously like we're not going to diagnose anyone because you shouldn't do that online. But it's kind of like a self-evaluation thing of how are you feeling. There's like those available on any official website of any like mental health organization or anything. Like you can look it up, like tests for like depression and things. So it's like pre-evaluation in order to like whether you should even consider. So something similar to that plus the cultural aspects if people want to do that. Yeah, there are quite a lot of platforms that are doing remote doctor's visits, and some of them are starting to move towards therapy sessions as well and mental health. How do you feel about these types of platforms, and what are the main one or two key differentiators?
Yeah, so basically there's nothing that anything that is exactly like what we are offering in Finland at the moment. There's a couple of American companies, US American companies, that are doing pretty much similar thing, but they're really focused on the US market. All of their therapists live in the US, work in the US. So of course there's some languages offered, like variety of languages, but they cannot cover the whole world's demand, first of all. There's nothing like that in Europe that exactly does what we do. So they're like similar things, not similar, but like in the mental health industry, there are things, but they offer different solutions for this problem. And there's nobody that is focusing specifically on the internationals, right? So on people that travel and people that move countries and the issues that we're going to be tackling.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vasi. But hey, if you ever have been snowboarding or skiing, you may have been noticed that it's pretty easy to hit each other, especially people behind the slopes. However, the team Season have been now developed for you an extra eye for what's your back behind the hills. So more of this topic is now going to be telling you about Jaakko. Let's give it up.
Good evening, everyone. We're Season, and we are creating modern safety systems for snowparks. This January, I was skiing with two of my good friends, Patrick and Mikael, in the local ski resort Talma. All fun and games until I decided to hit one of the biggest jumps there. Hit the jump. Mid-air, I realized that, oh shit, there's a little kid on the landing area. Since I'm not a bird, I cannot change my direction mid-air. I'm going straight at the kid, but well, thank God I missed the kid by a couple of centimeters, but at that time I realized that there is an actual problem. The problem is caused by these huge landing knuckles behind the jumps. They cause large blind spots, and that's right, exactly the area where people might fall. Our solution is to create this hardware system that consists of sensor part and indicator part. Sensor part is based on a camera with deep learning algorithm which indicates the information of a person on the landing area to indicator, which is just a basic traffic light type of light. This solution can also be used on other use cases in the future as well. Value we provide for our customers, ski resorts, is improved safety, which then improves customer experience, thus improving the brand value of the ski resort. Our business model is going to be business to business because we're selling this system to ski resorts. We're going to be making X years long contract with them, including installation fee and yearly payments. The price varies on the amount of units the ski resort wants or needs and length of contract as well as the user amount in the ski resort. Typically, ski resorts have 2 to 3 bigger jumps which would need our system. So that means we would be selling 2 to 3 units per ski resort. Globally, there are a bit under 6,000 ski resorts, but let's focus on the Nordics first. In the Nordics, there are a bit under 500 ski resorts and about 60% of having snow parks. Based on our calculations, this would mean about 4 to 5 million revenue for us each year. There's no direct competition on the market yet, but we've heard some rumors of some other group doing research on this stuff as well, actually this spring. Indirect competition comes from snowpark building teams, for example, Snæstern, and then this kind of technology is being used on other sports, for example, Hawkeye in tennis. Our team consists of me, Patrick Paavolainen, our sales guy, and Anshul Sood, our hardware master. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback from professional athletes from all over the world. Here are just a couple of the names. Also, ski resorts have shown a lot of interest in this idea. We will be testing pilot product next season here in Finland, hopefully in Ruka. We will make the product available for the market the next season after that. And as I said, we will start with Nordics because we find it easier to start near home. But let's quit talking and let us show you guys how this system actually works. So as you can see, here is our sensor prototype we got actually done this week, and from the screen, hopefully, yes, you can see the stream output, which is what the system will be seeing. It's detecting other stuff as other than people as well for now, but we will change that in the future. Patrick, go and show it. There's the indicator light which will be showing if there is a person on the slope. As you can see, it actually works. We're seasoned, trust our vision, it might just save your life. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation and the demo. First, a comment. You mentioned that it's an X years long contract and the pricing varies. Can you give us an example of how much would it be if there was a ski resort with three cameras of yours? So how much would it be, for example? Because I have no idea right now on the scale.
Yeah. So we'll be looking at about 8,000 euros per installation per unit. So it makes 16,000 from those. And then a yearly payment would be around 6,000 per unit. But since they're taking 3, we would give them a bit of discount because they're taking multiple units. So I'd say like about 14,000 yearly from them.
Yeah. Do you know what the competition is taking? Hawkeye, for example, I mean, they cost like hell in tennis. It costs like 80,000 euros for one court for Wimbledon. But what are they doing with at ski resorts?
Yeah, so this is the target market is smaller than the professional tennis as well. There's less money, and our system is much more cost effective than Hawkeye, for example. So that's like we're going to be selling this a much lower price than Hawkeye also.
Have you been talking to many ski resorts currently in Finland? And what have they been saying so far?
Yeah, we've been talking with them a lot, doing the research on the problem itself, and is this a problem? And yes, this is a problem, but we haven't talked a lot about money with them yet.
And one more, how many accidents happen a year in one ski resort because of this challenge?
Yeah, I can't remember the numbers of accidents. There are a lot of accidents, but actually the ski resorts don't write down if it's happened because of this problem. So it was kind of hard to find the actual numbers.
All right.
Yeah, thanks. I love it. Especially the functioning demo. Especially as this has something to do with artificial intelligence, they say. This is one of the very few AI-related demos that has ever seen and shown like concretely it works. So congratulations on that. And then weird stuff from my past. I remember that there were a couple of Finnish sales organizations, and there's a couple. I actually know the guys who were selling snow cannons back in the day in the 80s when the Chinese, and so there's a tradition in Finland in actually creating something like this and trying to sell it to ski resorts around the world. And also as a father of two avid skiers who were like 3 and 4 when we started going to the Alps for skiing, the market, though the jumps and the parks are one part of that, the blind spots that you have in the Alps in the resorts are really, because anyone who's skied in the Alps, you know that you come your own, and then there's the go past like this, and you're like, up, and then you have the Russians who come the way they come. So the market is bigger, but where are you going to sign the first deal? What is, are you going to go with what is your pathway, go-to-market strategy? Once again, quoting on the first next steps.
Yeah. Okay. So next season we want to test this product, and we're hoping to get the testing done in Ruka because it's the biggest snow park and at least the most popular, and they're they invest a lot in the snow park and want to make it really good, and it's globally known snow park, and it would be a great place for us. Or then we're just going to stay near Helsinki area and go to Talma, because that's also very popular because it's near capital area. And but either one of those probably it would be the optimal place for us.
Have you talked with insurance companies? Because that's kind of, that would be an obvious point, go and ask, what are the casualties, kind of.
Yeah, we haven't actually talked with them because we have found them a bit big and scary for this moment, but it's something we're going to do in the future.
Okay. I love this. This is really good. Cool. Kasso, you can also go and then with no fear jump. Thank you.
We cannot make up for bad skiing.
Thank you, Jaakko, on the presentation. The ever-increasing time spent in the buildings has been separated us more and more from the nature. But however, the next team, So Green, has taken this task to create more comfortable atmosphere inside the buildings. So let's hear how they have been doing it. Welcome to the stage, Polina.
Thanks, Ronnie. We are So Green, and we reconnect people with nature. And we start at your workplaces. Why? Some facts. 20% of people quit their jobs because of stress and burnout. If they don't, they still struggle, and the chance of getting a sick leave is higher. their productivity lowers, and overall they feel disengaged from their work tasks. This inevitably causes financial losses to the companies, which can be estimated as high as 150,000 for a company of 100 employees per year. Nature, in turn, is a stress reliever. Having greenery at your workplaces increases productivity of your teammates, and generally interaction with nature contributes to creativity of the individuals. That's why we, So Green, provide indoor edible gardens to your workspaces, and our pilot is ready to be installed at your workplaces in September. It already contributes to well-being because it's a piece of nature. The plants here are edible, which adds up to interaction with the nature, because your teammates can just come and pick them. We also provide the learning experience, because not all the people are familiar with the herbs. So here you can taste new ones and then speak about it to each other, which will create a nice starting point for conversations, which is especially important in this pre-post-COVID times where we learn to socialize back again. So what we do to create this value? Well, first we provide you with automated edible garden where you don't have to care about watering or lighting. Then we replace the plants that are actively picked by your team with new ones so your garden doesn't stay naked. To facilitate the learning experience, our gardens will be equipped with recipes so that you can try new herbs somehow else than just chewing on leaves. And we listen to your team and exchange the plants with new ones, with new kind of plants, if people want to try something new. This all is available for less than 2,000 euros per year, which, by the way, times less than financial loss caused by stress and burnout. Now, while market offers you plants decoration, or edible greens, or growing unit and the pairwise mixes, we combine everything and add our service on top. Where we is a team of 2 engineers who are passionate about vertical farming and plant lighting, and a designer who aims at bringing new experiences and improving existing in the indoor environment. And now we will demonstrate how your teammates can just interact with the nature like my teammate Nancy. So they can just approach the shelf, pick the herb, pick the leaf, and just spice up their food. This is this easy. So we are breaking this staring pattern. So we are breaking the staring pattern, because what else can you do with this yet another palm with the interaction pattern? And by the way, if any one of you happen to have the drinks in our branded cups, they were made with mint from our garden. So we are So Green. We are on our way to make your teammates happier. Join us in our piloting, and thank you.
Thank you for the pitch and the demo as well. Could you walk through kind of the prototype? What does it consist of? How many plants can it hold?
So for now, this is a shelf. We kind of hammered it ourselves. So there are 8 plants in each row. They are now in soil because it's our prototype to actually test people's behavior. But the watering system is already automated, so we don't need to come every day and water them by hands. There are growing lights in this prototype, so plants, they get all the light that they need. And we also pick the plants so that they require approximately equal amount of water and light so they can exist in one shelf.
Is this a yearly subscription or a monthly subscription?
It's we start with quarter of a year, and like maximum is a year, and then you renew. We don't go for monthly subscription because it might be not very convenient for companies, because we are B2B.
With this thing called, I can't remember the name of it. It starts with a C and ends with a letter 9. And there's Ovid and stuff in between. It has changed quite, COVID-19 has quite dramatically changed the way the workplace works and also how employees interact with each other. And I would love to get this through Zoom or Google Teams or whatever. So how do you see, you must have made some calculations of, what is the size of the market and how would who would be the first customer? Is Kassa going to buy it for their business? And do you have an office, Kassa? Do you go to the office?
Today was the first time in a year and a half.
So with the market being like this, how do you plan to sell this to, and who would buy it?
Okay, we plan to, because we do some research about the people and the pandemic things, even though now people move to Zoom and online platform, that they struggle to go back to physical meeting. So most of the company in our research, it say that they might optimize their office space as like a social place. So they might downscale the company, but people still craving for going there, and this shelf can be automatic, like generate with light and water, so people don't have to go there every day to water it, but it can be a nice place to people who go there like occasionally for social life, for meeting, for a conversation, and they can interact with it.
That I believe, but the edible thing. Think about this being, for example, my company has an office here in a kind of an office environment here in Otaniemi, and you come to that and you're like, I have a pizza, and and then the first question in my mind is, who has touched that? Who was the person who touched it last, and how do I make it clean? So is there a process? Have you been thinking about this challenge that, people might be afraid of eating stuff that, for example, the guy over there who's laughing could have touched?
We all buy greens from these supermarkets where it's not only your teammates who touch the plants, but whoever really else can touch the plants and do whatever they want. So first is like the community. Your community, and probably you're fine with those people, right? Otherwise you wouldn't work in that place. Second thing is that we will first try to put it next to the kitchen, so if you're still struggling with trust, you can just pick the lift and watch them in the sink like you usually do. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, so it's as safe as all the other food that you eat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline and Nancy. Hey, on this evening's second last presentation is now covering how the companies can utilize the student minds more effectively. It's really interesting concept that Virsity has been now made for our fellow students. So let's hear about how they have been made it. So welcome to the stage, Mia.
There are two problems that every company in this world have. Yeah, recruitment and innovation. Recruitment is a very long and painful process. You have to find the pool of talent, and even if you find the pool of talent, you have to go through hours of interviewing to actually know what kind of person fits your company. And what about innovating? Well, even if you're Google or Apple or even Facebook, you still have to innovate every day to keep up with the market. And I believe that everybody here in the podium have once been a student. And I want to talk about them. And maybe you're asking, why is she mentioning students? Because I believe that they are the hidden gem. They are really talented, innovative, and creative. They just don't have the playground, and they don't have a way to showcase what they've got in themselves. So that's why Versity is here. What is our solution? We are the mixed match between GitHub and LinkedIn. Through Versity, we help companies put up competitions to generate ideas from all around the world, from top quality students. And beside that, not only we are creating a playground for students, but we help students to build a profile. Do you think that it's like LinkedIn? No, it's not. On LinkedIn, you can see what they've been experienced, what kind of job they've been working. But on Versity, you can actually see what kind of solutions they have come up with. Through slides to presentations, you can see how they think. And we even analyze the students to see what kind of strength they have. Okay, enough of that. What does the site actually look like? This is Versity. So on Versity, as I said, there's a profile of students. You can actually see what kind of competitions they've been through. If you click on the competitions, you can see how they've come up with the solutions. And we actually even, as I said, analyze the students to see what kind of strengths they have. So this will help the company to actually find the hidden gem. And we even rank the students to see what kind of people actually fits the company the most. And of course, you can browse through the competitions and even see the solutions of the students. And the most important thing, of course, you can put up your own competition to generate ideas and even solve your company's problems through the pool of quality students from all around the world. So may I present you Versity. So maybe now you're asking, how will Versity generate revenue, right? So there are two streams of revenues. First, competitions. It depends on how big the competitions you want. If you want, like a few-day competition or a month competition, then we have a fixed price for that. And the next thing, we help you with recruitment. So there's a premium package where we, every month, will send you a ranking of people that fits your company the most. So this is our team. This is me, who help with who do business and work with all the partners and investors. And this is Hui and Ho, who actually create the platform and make this come true. So even if you're a company, even if you're a student, or even if you're an investor, I have one question for you. What are you waiting for? Thank you.
Thank you. This much color in the slides I have not seen for quite some time. Thank you for that. And, actually, thank you for this hybrid event. It's so good to see live people, live action, and be joined by the huge online community. So thank you for organizing this event, and being a part of it is really outstanding. Now, I have this, I'm a simple, slow, stubborn, and stupid person. So my simple question is, looks good, must work really well, because in the students lies a huge part of the better future that they will build for us, the rest of humanity in the future. How will you attract that top talent from the universities? And how do you plan to reach those companies like ourselves or anyone in the audience and making them aware of Versity? How do you do it?
So maybe I'll I didn't talk about my next steps or what we have been doing through the summer, but what we have been doing, we already have our first revenue actually. We already had a first competition, and we have a partnership with IDBM. So that's what we want to do. We want to partnership not with IDBM, for example, and programs like that, or with universities, quality universities from all around the world, from each country, and with all these programs like IDBM, where they select all the quality students from there. We want to not create a service, but a community of these students, of the quality students. And our also next step, not only partnership with all these universities, but also we already have first revenue, and we have a proof. So we want to talk with companies and actually prove them, hey, I've actually done this already. I have proof. This many people actually signed in, and this is the result. And our first customer is really happy. So what are you waiting for? So this is how our next step is.
Okay, so you're actually trying to do what IDBM has been quite successful in doing. They have the corporate partners who have a challenge, and then they present that challenge to the students, and the students study that, and they solve the problem. And that's kind of what you're mimicking, kind of planning on doing in university, right?
Exactly. But on the other side, we also want to create like a LinkedIn where they can create a profile, but not only to see what they've been working on, but how they've been working on it. We want to show how they think, how they work, and showcase that talent.
Okay, Kasso. This sounds like you, as one of the presidents of Aaltoes, you have had this huge pool of students who all are looking for a job. So this could be a solution, right?
Yep. This has been tried before. About 7 years ago, Aaltoes actually had a coding competition for students, and companies were at the other side. So would the challenges only be coming from companies?
Yes, exactly, from companies.
And they would be company-specific challenges in a way that. So if I'm a company and I just want to see a list of the best students, I'm not able to do that unless I have a challenge.
If you have a premium package, you can see the best students. Yes.
There we go. Yeah, and the competition. Yeah, those kind of. What is the competition doing, and why are they doing it wrong?
Why are they doing it wrong?
Yeah. Your competition.
Oh.
So what's the competition doing, and what are they doing wrong?
Oh, okay. So, for example, there are hackathons, right, and stuff like that. But the thing is, again, they don't actually build a profile. Students can't build a profile on hackathon. They can't. You can't see what kind of like competitions they've been doing and how they've been solving it. Maybe you can see it if somebody wins, but not like it doesn't matter on Varsity if you win or not. We will still save all the solutions they've came up with, and we actually analyze them to see what are you good at.
Yeah, so our competition is redesigned. It doesn't like hackathon that much. It's actually designed to help students express how they think rather than the solution, the products that they produce.
The product.
Yeah, for example, like in one of our first competition, we actually judge how they think and how they like come up with a solution rather than like the products.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mia and Hanu. On our last presentation today, now we're covering on how the 3 PhD students have been found problem in their daily life when doing the research. It's been total pleasure to be seeing how they guys have been tackled this issue and actually made the research more efficient than previously. So let's give it up for our team, VMX, and our presenter, Francesco.
We all do Google searches, but navigating through all those results is another matter. My friends and I, we are PhD students, and one day we were complaining about the tools that we currently use in our job. Artificial intelligence is taking giant steps for machine to learn. But there are some fields for which human creativity, curiosity, and intuition is still needed. Research is one of them. That's why I'm delighted to introduce you XLib, an extended library to boost researchers' productivity. But let's see how things work now and how things will work with XLib. But for this to happen, please welcome Matteo.
Thank you, Francesco. Okay, let me connect to the software. Okay, so I'm a researcher in front of my computer, and I want to look for autonomous driving related papers on Google Scholar. So I start typing the keywords, and then I open the first PDF. Now I start reading it, but I see that it's not interesting to me. So I come back, and I open another one, and I start reading it, and now I'm interested in citation 17. So I scroll down at the end of the paper, I copy the title, paste it back to Scholar, search, and open it. Now, this took many clicks. Now, let's switch to our product, XLib. In XLib, again, we start typing the keywords. Now we search, and the results are shown as previews of PDFs. And if you have some favorite figures or some annotations, those are shown as well. Now we can also read papers, the previews, and if we want the details, we can go on the three dots. Now we can go on the paper we were interested in, we can click on it and open it, and now we can start reading it again, and we're interested in citation 17, so we can go on top of it in order to read the details, and if we click on it, we can open it directly. This took only 2 clicks. Okay.
Thank you, Matteo. XLib gives you fast research by smart mind map with fluent navigation. There are 8 million researchers in the world writing for 30,000 different journals for a total of 2 million papers per year, and this is only in academics. In the last weeks, we have talked to researchers and students, and we started developing our application considering their feedback and needs. This is our business model. So XLib will come with 2 types of subscription. The first one is an institution-based subscription for universities, R&D departments in companies, and research institutes. The second one is an individual-based subscription for all of those brave researchers that want to try this product for themselves. We are VMX. Matteo and I, Francesco, we are the tech guys, while Rusbe is the business guy. And this is XLib, an extended library to boost researchers' productivity. We are planning to launch our beta version by the end of the year. In the meantime, contact us if you want to provide financial support or any kind of, you want to contribute somehow. Because we want to speed up the process, because this is only the beginning. Our vision is to impact the future of retrieving and navigating through information. But now the question is, are you ready to embrace the future? Thank you.
Thank you, guys. What you have just built and shown there, I don't know how, I think I see that as remarkably significant. One of the big challenges for the future of humanity is how fast we can implement research and create new research, and good research always relies on previous good research, and thus accessing good solid research is an enabler for future research, and what you are doing is could revolutionize actually the way researchers can find out that somebody actually already did something, so I can focus on something more advanced. So congratulations on that. Huge step forward.
Thank you.
My question is, are you the right team to succeed? And Karsto knows, and you know, many people know that it's quite seldom that I doubt the team, because this is a challenge of huge proportions. It's kind of Ted Nelson, Xanadu, kind of a hypertext and all those things. And this is something that would ride on them. And looking at the metaverse that I earlier sort of mentioned, this would actually create a new kind of a layer on top of existing data that can contextualize research and thus be a foundation. Are you the team to do it? The location Aalto here is probably the place where it should start. So how do you see yourselves? How unique is this, and how acceptable can it become in the field of academia? Because that is necessary for it to sort of pick up.
Yeah. So basically, I would say that there are two main things for which I think we are the right team to develop this application. The first thing is that we are researchers ourselves, and the second thing is that the vision we developed throughout these weeks is something that it's more like of a concept that you cannot see in many others software. Like, we tried many of those software, and we decided to quit all of them, because it's always like, you have a list of papers, you have text and web links. We don't want that. Of course, we know about Xanadu. We are not trying to create a new Xanadu, because we know that it's not practicable. For this reason, we are going more into machine learning and artificial intelligence, so that we can create meaningful connections. So not all the connections, like in Xanadu, there are many documents, they are all connected among each other, and in research, it's going to be like a huge amount of connections. But we want only the most meaningful one.
So your intent, you could actually sort of create a hierarchy of the meaningfulness of if you have multiple links, you could actually have a kind of a indexing of those relevances that could then be culturally sensitive and so on and so forth. So you could actually create kind of a mapping structure, an indexing structure on top of that. Kind of cool. Yeah, good. Thank you.
So basically, for example, in one slide we show that it provides a mind map. So we want to create some kind of a mind map. And maybe you can, navigate through all of them just by dragging the mind map, and you can zoom in and zoom out to get more detail, less detail, maybe in 3D. So we have this vision, and we are working towards it.
I haven't done too much research myself, a thesis basically at Aalto as well. And I can see that it speeds things up. But have you been able to measure this in any way?
I mean, as I showed, in order to navigate through papers, it took so many clicks. So we can measure it in amount of clicks if we want. So it took just 2 clicks to reach that last paper, while before I had to navigate through Scholar, go back and forth. So we can calculate like that.
Okay. Yeah. How much is it going to cost?
Well, so at the moment I cannot say a concrete price for a prototype.
Ballpark figure.
Yeah. We are thinking about something around 50 euros per customer per year. But this price is based on a comparison we did to other similar softwares in the market. But by the way, it's under research, and we are thinking to a good price, because also we are thinking to something affordable for the researchers, because university and research is not kind of the rich sector in many countries.
Are you thinking about potentially using this as a mechanism for the researchers to attract funding, or actually direct income. If you think of, someone somewhere, like Kassu represents a venture capitalist, they have a portfolio company, they are looking for solutions and scientific papers that could be related to their portfolio companies, and that could be of value. And is that something that you would, searching for existing knowledge that is validated, would that be a potential revenue path? Just throwing around, you probably haven't thought about it, but this is something that has been boiling in some communities for quite some time, because that would enable this kind of a model, right?
Yeah, actually, there are many other ideas we're thinking of in order to scale the product. This could be another of those ideas, and actually we are trying to see if this product can be scalable to a broader range of customer, even over the research, so not only research. We think we can do it, because if you think of it, here we showed only some papers with references, but it would be the same to show the contents of some websites with links to other websites. So basically, this is one other valuable option. But
pitch decks of startups that VCs look at.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hey, that was all the presentations on today. So let's give one more big applause for all of our team that are doing. But before we end this event, there's still a couple words our Aaltoes board want to say, and thank for the teams as well. So welcome to the stage, Pate and Mona.
First of all, a huge thank you for Ronnie and Oscar, and especially to all of the teams. My name is Patrick Fjellberg. I'm here with Mona Ismail, and we are part of this year's Aaltoes board. We are here to reward 2 of the teams with free office spaces from Startup Sauna.
Yeah, so before I announce the teams that will get the office spaces, I also must thank Ignite's team for organizing this summer batch, and also the Ignite summer batch of 2021. So thank you for bringing your vibrant energy to Startup Sauna, and this is no goodbyes. I know that you guys will use our facilities and our co-working spaces, so I'm eagerly looking forward to fall. But we will give 2 office spaces to 2 teams that we felt like would utilize them, or they would use it, or they would need it the most. And those 2 teams are NOMS and VMX, so thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. But before ending, actually, we have already decided who is actually going to lead Ignite for next year. This person is not an unfamiliar face to all of you. As Versity said prior in their pitch, recruiting is really hard. It can be a hit and miss, but this person was an actual hidden gem. I have been intensively working with this person, and I can say that this person, I'm not using pronouns or so that you will not guess who this person is, but this person is the right person to lead Ignite next year. If I give you a clue, he has good dad jokes. There's 2 people in Aaltoes that have good dad jokes, but it's not Ronnie Lahti. He will retire this year. So this person is Patrick Fjellberg.
Thank you, Mona.
Yes, but thank you all. We will see you at the after party, and we will give it to Ronja and Oskar, I'm assuming.
Yes. And let's welcome Ronja and Oskar to the stage for the one last time. Let's give a big hand for them.
We just want to end this with a huge thank you to all our volunteers for helping out today. We couldn't have made this possible without all of you, and a big thank you to the board as well for supplying the teams with office spaces for the future. But let's give a huge applaud first to all the volunteers for doing all of this and helping us setting up this venue today. We also want to thank Trang, our marketing genius, for helping us throughout the spring and the summer. Without you, we wouldn't have any people here today. So let's give a huge round of applause there as well. It's been a pleasure to see all the presentations tonight, and we can't wait to see where all of you teams end up. But Ignite 2021 ends here, but we'll be back next year with a new and even stronger program with Patrick.
Yes. We wish you, Pate, well and all the luck for the next program, and treat our baby well. Thank you all.
Teams, let's take a team picture on the stage. So if all the teams want to come.
That's it. Yes. Yes. Hey, all the Ignite teams, come to the stage. Let's take one more group picture in here. And watch out the cables.